whatever you're saving up for. A CD from Sandy Spring Bank lets you grow your savings at a guaranteed rate. Right now, earn interest at 4.5% APY on an 8-month CD special or 4.25% APY on a 14-month CD special. Learn more at sandyspringbank.com/CD specials. Minimum opening deposit to earn the annual percentage yield is $500 for the 8-month CD special and $2,500 for the 14-month CD special. Member FDIC.
Step into the dynamic world of the Joe Kelley Show podcast, streaming straight from the state-of-the-art radio studios of WDBO in sunny Orlando, Florida. You're just seconds away from immersing yourself in Joe's unparalleled perspective on the most pressing current events, the latest news, and everything in between.
Thank you for joining us here for the second hour of the Joe Kelley Show here on WDBO. Coming up in an hour from right now, it'll be the third hour of the Sean Hannity Show. If you want to stick around for that, that'll be coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. If you are just joining us, welcome. We're glad to have you here. We've got a number of topics that we have been discussing in the last hour. While if you weren't listening during the last hour, we're talking about whether or not we should be eating bugs, as now the Switzerland government has now told their population, the Swiss government, telling children that devouring mealworms, locusts, and crickets is better than eating cheese and chocolate. Yeah. Most people will certainly balk at the idea of feeding their kids bugs, but Switzerland and some other countries are pushing children to eat bugs because the global food supply chain is in a free fall. Have you guys not read reports recently that the global food supply chain is going to collapse in the coming years, maybe even in the coming months, and people should be stocking up on food? I don't want to say that out loud, though I just did, because then just saying it out loud causes people to panic. Here in the United States, the soaring price of food is being blamed on inflation. Inflation is certainly part of the problem, but the real issue is we don't have a sustainable food supply that we can count on here in the United States. We depend on people far, far away to grow, raise, transport, and sometimes even cook the food that we eat every day. So now the Swiss government is saying that children need to start eating bugs. And that sounds really gross. We're talking about that. We're also talking about the new bill that the governor is expected to sign that is basically a bathroom bill. It's the same bathroom bill that got North Carolina in trouble, but it's become more mainstream at this point. North Carolina was the first state that dared say that only men can use men's rooms and only women can use women's rooms. But now, now there are states that are making accommodations for transgender people to be able to use the bathroom of their choosing rather than the bathroom of the gender with which they were born, which led to somebody earlier suggesting that it's only a matter of time before birth certificates don't list the genders anymore.
Hey, I work for the Department of Motor Vehicles, and we are starting to see passports that are coming through with gender X. So we still need to put male or female on a driver's license, so we're having to ask our customer which one they mostly identify with and go from there. I'm still not used to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we're going to have to get used to in the days ahead. That's for sure. I will tell you, though, that the case that led to the United States creating gender X for passports is not as cut and dry as you might think. Because I remember when I first heard about it, when I first heard that there was someone who was adamant about applying for a passport and didn't fit the male or female category, and I thought, what a jerk. Why are you being like this? Why do you have to stand out like this? And then as I read more about the case, my disgruntledness towards that person became sympathy and compassion for that person, because the person who, and I don't know about any of the Johnny-come-latelys who have taken up gender X on their passports, but the person who created the precedent, I promise you, was a victim and not a perpetrator. The person who, and I'm just doing this off the top of my memory, and we know how that works, but the person who established the gender X on passports was born with ambiguous genitalia. So somebody had to make a decision when the child was a baby. Is this baby going to be a boy or a girl? Is this child going to grow up being a boy or a girl? So the parents made a decision to have what little genitalia this person had. The parents made a decision to have it surgically removed. And then later, as he grew up, he didn't like the gender his parents picked, and he wanted his genitalia back. And through a series of botched surgeries, I mean, they basically destroyed this person's junk. I mean, absolutely destroyed it. And I felt so bad for this person. But that was the first person to get the gender X designation on a passport because his genitalia was mutilated. I mean, it was absolutely horrible. So, yes, sometimes people are just trying to attract attention to themselves. And sometimes people, if, again, I talk about loving your neighbors. You can't love your neighbors if you don't get to know your neighbors. And while I'm not neighbors with that gender X guy, I did get to know him and realize that his case was not as simple as I had thought it was. It was much more complicated, and I have much more compassion for him than I did before. On the subject of eating bugs.
Well, Joe, I guess I eat insects. I mean, when I use crickets to go fishing, the fish eats the cricket, I eat the fish, so I guess I eat an insect.
That's an interesting idea. If you're eating things that eat insects, well, chickens are an example of that, right? If you eat, free-range chickens? I mean, free-range chickens, that's what they do. They walk around and eat little bugs, and then we eat the chickens. No, it's still not the same as eating bugs. I'm trying to convince myself that it's the same. It's not! It's gross! So listen, I went to Amazon. And if you're watching on our stream right now, and I encourage you to go to our Facebook page and check out our stream right now, the video stream. So I went to Amazon to see what kind of edible bugs and insects that they have. And are you guys looking at this with me now? So there are mixed bugs, it's like a trail mix. It's a 15-gram bag, seasoned and crunchy insects, crickets, grasshoppers, silkworm pulpa. Then the other one has grasshoppers, crickets, silkworms, and sago worms, whatever those are. And then there's a bag of tarantulas. I don't like tarantulas in any way, shape, or form. Tarantulas scare me. I've always been afraid of tarantulas. But you can get edible tarantulas. Okay, so my question for you, Laurel, and Paul Cross, if I order a bag of tarantulas from Amazon for $24.
Nope. It doesn't matter what you say next. Nope.
It's a 0.3 of an ounce bag. How many tarantulas could that even be? How many tarantulas are in a bag?
There's little tarantulas. There's little ones.
So if I get it, it says they're 100% edible, dehydrated zebra tarantula insects, snack foods. Would you get it? Would you eat it with me on the air?
I think that should be the punishment for whoever doesn't post a story that week. They've got to eat a tarantula on our website.
Okay, I zoomed into the bag. It says ingredients. One Thai zebra one? There's one tarantula in the bag?
It's not even an appetizing looking bag. There's no bright colors. It's just a big old spider on that.
Yes.
Looks like you're at a pet shop.
Right?
Yeah, they put a tarantula in a bag and they sell it for $24 for one tarantula?
It's a delicacy.
But I thought the argument was that insects are cheaper than other protein and that we should be eating that. Like here's a bag of grasshoppers for $7. It's a 1 ounce bag of grasshoppers. Here's a bag of scorpions, Thailand unique scorpions, human edible, 1 bag high protein bug superfood for $16.
Are these legal to buy anywhere, or is it regional?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Oh yeah. No, they're legal. It's not like it's drugs or anything. They've got mixed bugs, grasshoppers. There's ants. You can get edible ants. And then there's scorpions, black ants, seasoned crickets. And then this is one of my favorite, June bugs. So you guys ever seen a June bug? They're basically beetles, right?
They're flying cockroaches.
Yes, I hate June bugs.
I'm not typically like a weenie when a bug comes around. I'm
Yeah.
like, whatever. When June bugs come in my house, I run. I scream and I run.
I similarly hate June bugs. And so this bag is $14 for June bugs. And am I reading it right? Let's see. It doesn't say how many June bugs are in the bag. I can't quite. It says 15 grams. That's got to be quite a few, right? Remember how bad we are at measurements? Is a gram of cocaine a lot of
Can't
cocaine?
measure drugs or bugs.
That's
We're not
right.
gonna-
We don't know. We just have no idea. But so okay, here's the deal. I'm going to order a bag of bugs.
No.
I'm going to order a bag of bugs. And when it comes in, we are going to eat a bag of bugs.
I quit.
What?
I quit today.
You can't quit. You can't just quit.
I am. I'm doing it.
All right, 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. Would you, if I get a big bag of bugs, would you share some of the bugs with me? Let me know.
Hey, Joe. Man, I miss you on the morning show. But let me tell you something. I haven't won the $1,000 on WDBO yet.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Good.
But concerning this whole bug issue, man, I am totally skeeved out.
Yeah.
Who the hell? What?
Yeah.
Bugs?
Uh-huh.
Ah!
I like that word skeeved. I haven't heard that in a long time. I'm skeeved out. Yes, absolutely skeeved out about eating bugs.
Kids eating bugs? I mean, where did the world come to? What is happening?
Yeah, there's a lot going on that is really hard to understand right now.
With the cricket, the 15% is probably the tapeworm inside.
But the tapeworm should be edible, right? So what part of the cricket is not edible? What part of the cricket are we supposed to pick off, and throw away before we actually consume it?
So I did a quick
When
internet search
you
on those
wish
edible crickets, and they're selling between
upon a
$30 to
star.
$40 per pound. Ribeye steak, on the other hand, goes for $13 a pound. I'm sticking with some ribeye steak.
Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be a cheaper place to buy bugs because these bugs, they're not cheap, that's for sure. This guy here has what might be the best idea of all.
Why don't everybody start eating love bugs then? Get rid of them.
I don't know if you know this, but May is love bug season, and I hit my first love bug on the windshield yesterday. In fact, Laurel, as you and I walked out of work yesterday, that was the first thing we discussed was look at the love bugs on our cars. But yeah, we should go eat love bugs. But can you just pick them out of the sky and eat them, or do you have to prepare them first? Do you have to cook them first?
Saute them with butter. Crunchy.
So in that sense, it's like escargot, right? I mean, if you put a snail in enough butter and you saute it, it's going to taste fantastic, right? I mean, that's basically what you're tasting
I get.
when
With
you
butter
eat
and garlic?
escargot is garlic. So if you were to saute up some grub worms in butter and garlic and maybe put some shallots and onions in there, does that not sound good? You could even load it into a hoagie roll and make a grub worm sandwich out of it.
Disguise it in pasta or something.
Right. Yeah, actually, funny you say that, Paul. That's actually one of the things it suggests is that that the Swiss government is saying to the kids, that is, don't feed them just the actual insect, grind it up or chop it up and hide it in other meals. Put it in tacos, put it in spaghetti sauce and that kind of stuff. Like we're not going to notice. Because they do say, and you guys have heard this before, that things like the Food and Drug Administration allows a certain percentage of bug parts in certain food products like peanut butter and stuff like that. I mean, peanut butter is allowed to contain, up to so many grams of bug products in your peanut butter. But if you saw a bug product in your peanut butter, would you eat that peanut butter or take it back to the store? I'm taking it back to the store. I don't know about you. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic and the WDBO app. We'll continue straight ahead. People seem to be into talking about eating bugs, which is really gross. And I know that this is like supper time for a lot of people, right? Isn't this the time that People generally will start eating dinner. I know that I would be thinking about eating dinner right about this time.
Wow, just wait till the animal rights people hear about this. They'll declare all of these bugs endangered species.
Yeah.
So, Joe, I'm a biker, and you got to understand, when you're running 80 miles an hour down the interstate and you're hitting the face with a June bug, yeah, I'm not happy with those June bugs. So, whoever wants to eat them up and get them off the roads because they hurt. I mean, they really hurt.
And Laurel, you ride a motorcycle. I mean, sometimes do you ever just eat bugs accidentally?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Particularly if you make the mistake of having your visor turned up. Not only do you get them on your teeth and stuff, but when they hit your skin, they sting.
Oh yeah. Well, then is that not why motorcyclists often wear chaps? In case when they're in the rain or something like that. I mean, because rain hurts if you're driving a motorcycle through rain.
Yep.
So, wearing that protective gear when
But I know when I would go out running as well, and I'd just be running, and it was love, but you get like gnats in your mouth.
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
wiping my mouth, and there's little tiny bugs on my face.
Yeah, it's totally gross.
This open mic is for Laurel.
Oh, all right, here we go.
May the 4th be with you.
Oh.
Thank you. May the force be with you all.
Something like that, yes.
I'm wearing my shirt today.
Oh, yeah, you are
Joe,
wearing a Star Wars
you're the only
shirt.
one not in the Cool Kids Club.
I've got Grogu with me.
Okay.
If that's not enough. Here's an open mic about the person who was designated gender X on his passport because he was born with ambiguous genitalia, and then his parents had to make a decision about, well, is this person going to be a boy or a girl? They made a decision. The child didn't like the decision once he became old enough to recognize it. And then he went to a doctor to have the surgery repair the decision that the parents made, and it just all went downhill from there. It's like Michael Jackson's nose. When you have it operated on too many times, then it just goes to to pot, and that's kind of what happened with this poor person's genitalia.
This kid's parents and the doctors that mutilated him should die in prison. Keep saying it, man. The left is evil. How much proof do you need? The left is evil. Whether it's here in America or in another country, the left is evil.
I have to disagree with you. I mean, well, I'm not necessarily going to disagree about the left being evil. I will disagree with you about putting the parents and the doctors in jail. I think the parents, I mean, I feel sorry for the parents. Can you imagine having to make that decision? Everybody prays for a healthy child when they're born, and for your child to be born, the first question that's always asked is it a boy or a girl? And the doctor would be like, we're just not sure if this is a boy or a girl. Can you imagine the pain that the parents would have to go through in something like that? Can you imagine the anguish that parents of having to make a decision? Gosh, do we want this child to be raised a boy or a girl? And then knowing years later you made the wrong decision. And then a doctor, I don't know the status of the doctor, but presumably doing his or her best to create the genitalia that the person wanted. None of that is exact science. I think that putting the parents and the doctors in jail would just be a misjustice. It wouldn't fit the crime because there isn't a crime.
Just a quick note about the whole eating bugs. What about pesticides that those bugs may come in contact with if a kid's out there grabbing one off the ground? Because, if you're hungry, grab a bug instead of a Snicker.
Yeah, I don't know that we're encouraged to just go out and graze off of insects. I don't know that we should just be eating wild insects off the ground or plucking them out of trees. I think the discussion here is about farm-raised bugs and grubs and stuff like that we would be eating that presumably would not be exposed to pesticides. Because, yeah, you're right. That would be just terrible if we're ingesting that. Plus, we were discussing how to clean them. How do you clean those crickets before you eat them? Do you put them in a colander and rinse them with cold water? Do you put them in one of those salad spinner devices? I mean, I don't know how you clean an insect before you eat it. 844-580-WDBO or use the open mic in the WDBO app. All right, so we're talking about eating bugs because evidently the Swiss government is now encouraging their citizens that they should start they should start eating insects. This as a mother reveals that she feeds her 18-month-old baby crickets and insists it saves her hundreds of dollars. So we got this open mic. I love this one.
Hello, Joe. The worst is getting those grasshopper legs stuck in between your teeth. It's just such a chore to floss them out.
How many people just had to pull over their car and throw up? Because I feel like a few people probably did. Monica is joining us in Orlando at 844-580-WDBO. Hi, Monica. You're on WDBO.
Hello. And yes, I just use a salad spinner, but not for bugs. But it is dinner time, and I'm sitting here cringing as I'm listening to you. But I'm also thinking, we're kind of taught that what is the insect that's going to outlive any nuclear attack? It's the roach, right? Right. So maybe this is a way of introducing us to, the diet that's going to be left for us. For those of us who are going to go underground and then surface, this is what we're going to have. So maybe they're trying to make it not so shocking when that happens.
So hang on,
I'll stick to chocolate. I'll stick to chocolate.
I want to make sure I understand you right, Monica. So you're saying that this is the government preparing us for doomsday when we're all living underground because we've scorched the planet, the surface of our planet, and all we're going to be able to eat is cockroaches and other grub living underground.
Well, I'm very strong in conspiracy theory, so to me, it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. It's a no-brainer. Like, let's ease us into it. Yeah, everybody, it's a feel-good thing, It's got lots of protein, fats, omega-3s. Oh, this is fantastic. This is great. It's great for everybody. Okay, well, now this is what you have to eat.
So would you, if you, as you're preparing your dinner tonight, if one of the things that you had available to you was a bowl full of seasoned crickets, would you serve that to your family and eat it?
Oh, my goodness. Well, if I had to, if that's all we had, of course. If that's it, if that's your choice for protein. But I told my son, I'm ready to board the mothership. So, start packing. Start packing, because if you're going with Mama, let's go.
And I think you're right in that. I think the only way to get most Americans to eat bugs is to take away everything else that we have. Because as long as I have other options, I think eating bugs is going to be my last option. That and Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, I do like Brussels sprouts. They look like little brains. And I need all the help I can get. So okay, I'll have a little brain.
You realize that makes it worse, right? Not better that it looks like little brains. So, all right, Monica.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you listening.
It's kind of a gotcha moment, Joe. It's like, hey, you've survived nuclear holocaust. Yeah. Everything is completely gone, and you're thinking, yay me, and then the only thing you have left to eat are cockroaches and Brussels sprouts. What's your purpose of living?
Oh, golly, tell me that a nuclear holocaust is going to kill all the Brussels sprouts. Please don't let there be any more Brussels sprouts remaining, because that is intolerable.
Hey, Laurel, but be aware, the revenge of the 6th is coming.
Is that a thing? I don't even know if that's a thing. Is that a thing? I feel like it's not a thing.
I think the media needs to stop talking about all the transgenders and all these commercials and everything with the bathrooms and all that stuff going on, and just focus on the stuff that's really important that's going on in the world. And then that stuff is probably going to go away. The more you talk about, racism, the more it stays around. I don't think people think about black and white like they're perpetuating.
I have no idea what that guy just said, because all I could hear was the water sprinkler and the birds chirping in the background. Did you hear the water sprinkler? Could you hear that? I wonder if that was audible on the radio.
Yeah.
I know we could hear it in our studio headphones and stuff. But here, turn it up if you're in your car right now, if you got a lot of car noise. But you can hear the sprinklers and the birds chirping, and it sounds so tranquil, doesn't it? Listen.
I think the media needs to stop talking about all the transgenders and all these commercials and everything with the bathrooms and all that stuff going on. And just focus on the stuff that's really important that's going on in the world. And then that stuff is probably going to go away. The more you talk about, racism, the more it stays around. I don't think people think about black and white like they're perpetuating.
So beyond the sprinklers and the birds chirping to the actual comments there, that's interesting. Part of me says you want us to put our heads in the ground like an ostrich and just pretend that everything is okay when things are not okay. And I understand where you're coming from in that, perhaps you're tired of hearing about these things. But when the Florida state legislature today approves legislation that designates bathrooms for different individuals, and it's going to go to the governor of Florida for his signature, how do we not talk about that? I mean, I agree that I am exhausted talking about transgender issues. There's a lot of issues that just exhaust me, but ignoring them doesn't make them go away. Ignoring black versus white issues doesn't make bigotry go away. It doesn't make racism go away. It doesn't make hatred go away. It might make it more convenient for our sensitive ears to not have to listen to that kind of strife, to that kind of difficulty, and I could appreciate that. But I just don't know that that is the proper course of action to take, to ignore issues and pretend that they don't exist, pretend that they're not a problem, and hope that they eventually just go away. What do you guys think? 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. Don't forget, you can always find the Joe Kelley Show podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. You'll find it on Apple Podcasts. You'll find it on Spotify. You'll find it on the on-demand button in the WDBO app. Check it out today. It's the Joe Kelley Show podcast, anywhere you get your podcasts. We will continue coming up next right here on WDBO. Stay with us. That we do two different shows. I don't know if you know this, but we do two different shows every night. We do the show that you hear, H-E-A-R-H-E-R-E. You hear, a homophone, that you hear here on the radio. And then we do another show that we do on the video stream and the chat on the WDBO Facebook page. And I would highly recommend you check out both if you have a chance. I know if you're in your car right now and driving, you probably shouldn't. In fact, it's illegal for you to grab your phone and start streaming a Facebook page while you're driving, so don't do that. But we have a lot of fun conversations in the chat if you ever want to join us there. And it's Paul and Laurel and me, and sometimes we'll get others. We'll get Arushi, and we'll get some of our other cast members in there as well. A couple more open mics here for tonight.
I feel like Revenge of the Sixth isn't so much a Star Wars thing as it is a curse from Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, so a little too much tequila, perhaps, would be a concern there.
Hey, Joe, I was just always curious. How do you pick the $1,000 winner every day? Like, what's the sequence? Is it like random, or is it like the 10th caller, or the 100th caller, or the first one? Just didn't know.
So it's a great question. Thanks for giving me a chance to answer this question. We don't take callers, right? Because you have to input the word into the WDBO app. So there's no phone calls involved. So it's not a matter of, taking the 10th call or anything like that, which, we've done in the past. Radio stations do it all the time that way. But when we do the contest, let's say the 5 o'clock contest that Laurel did, we give out a word, and then we give listeners 15 minutes to input the word into the app. That's all you get. I say that's all you get. That should be plenty of time to write a short word into the WDBO app. But we give you 15 minutes to put it in the app, and then after that, we shut off entries. You can't enter again after 15 minutes. And then we simply have a computer program that selects the winner for us. It's entirely randomized by our computer, and it picks the winner, and then we call the winner and congratulate the winner. And that is how it works.
We made USAA Insurance to help you save. Take advantage of discounts when you cover your home and your ride. Discover how we're helping members save at USAA.com/bundle. USAA. Restrictions apply.